Today, we're going to show you how to remove the subassembly on the Force Kraken Trolling Motor if the subassembly is damaged or is needing replaced. It is recommended that 2 people perform this installation. For this process, you will need a number 2 Phillips head screwdriver, 3 and 4 mm hex bit drivers, and the subassembly for the Force Kraken Trolling Motor. The subassembly will consist of the shaft cap and its internals, shaft and depth limiter, coil cable, servo, prop motor, and, on the black Kraken trolling motors, the GT56 UHD transducer. First, disconnect the trolling motor from power. Then, remove the 3 screws securing the right shroud using a 4 mm hex bit driver. Remove the right shroud. Repeat this process with the left shroud. Remove the tension spring on the side where the wire harness sits. Leave the other tension spring on to help with deploying the trolling motor. Remove the 2 screws holding the latch pusher on the right and left side of the mount using a number 2 Phillips head screwdriver. Pinch and remove the latch pusher from the outside to release it. Repeat this on the opposite side. Pivot the latch pusher linkage on each side of the mount up 45 degrees and slide off to detach the foot lever. Adjust the depth adjustment collar so the trolling motor does not hit the boat or trailer. Then, deploy the trolling motor. Remove the 2 screws holding the servo landing pad using a 3 mm hex bit driver. Now, disconnect the data cable connected to the e-box. Then, disconnect the blue power cable from the wire harness. Then, remove the 3 screws holding the wire harness on the mount using a 3 mm hex bit driver. Feed the power and transducer cable from the channel on the side of the e-box and under the foot lever. We can now push the pivot pin holding the subassembly. Push the pivot pin out halfway. Have a second person hold the subassembly. Then, remove the pivot pin. Holding the bottom of the servo, remove the subassembly from the trolling motor mount. Install the latch pusher on the inside of the mount. This is not held by screws, so make sure this stays in place when placing the new subassembly. Do not install the latch pusher linkage until after placing the new subassembly. Ensure the new bushings are also installed on the subassembly of the trolling motor. Hold the data cable and power cable of the servo before placing in the mount. This will help prevent damage to the cables. Then, place the new subassembly in the trolling motor mount. Insert the pivot pin. Make sure the pivot pin sits on top of the power and data cables. Align the subassembly to the other pivot pin hole. Route the power and sonar cable through the channel located by the e-box and under the foot lever. Align the wire harness to the 3 holes on the side of the mount. Reinsert and tighten the 3 screws to the wire harness and mount using a 3 mm hex bit driver. Plug the blue power data cable into the wire harness. Then, reconnect the data cable to the e-box. Align the data cable and power cable under the servo landing pad's channels. Place the servo landing pad. Install and tighten the 2 screws to the servo landing pad using a 3 mm hex bit driver. Slide the latch pusher linkage onto the slot of the foot lever at a 45-degree angle and pivot it down to align with the mount slot for it. Tighten the 2 screws on each latch pusher using a Phillips head screwdriver. Install the tension spring on the foot lever and hook to the latch pusher linkage. press the foot lever down and stow the trolling motor. Now, reattach the left and right shroud. Tighten the 3 screws on each shroud using a 4mm hex bit driver. And that's it. Thanks for watching. For more help, please visit marinesupport.garmin.com.